Good morning. You might have figured out by now that something is going on a little different today. I wanted to build on my lower leg yin class that I released last week, and I will link it up above so that you can check that out if you're interested in that. And I talked a lot that the focus in that practice were our calves, and that's because my calves are really tight, and I know a lot of people's calves are really tight. So today I'm going to share with you a few things that I do when I run, before I run. And if you're a runner, you might be familiar with some of these things. These are all foam rollers. As you can see, they come in different sizes. They come in different shapes, different hardnesses. If you've never foam rolled before, it can be a little painful when you start out, not going to lie. It can be a little painful even if you've been doing it for a really long time. It shouldn't really be painful, but it can be intense. I guess that's the word that I'm looking for. It can be very, very intense. There's a lot of debate on hard versus soft. Does foam rolling actually do anything for you? I'm not a foam rolling expert. I'll tell you that right now. I do it very religiously, and for myself personally, I see a difference in my body when I'm foam rolling. I actually try to foam roll almost every day. I definitely foam roll before I run. I used to do it after I run, which is a great practice, but I found that if I left it for after, it was way too easy to skip. Foam rolling is actually more important to do before you run. It helps to warm up those muscles. It helps to bring blood to those muscles, the same reasons that we do warm-ups. So doing it, if you have a choice, do it before a run. Now, of course, if you're not a runner, foam rolling is really still great. It works on what they call myofascial release. Basically, your fascia, unlike your bones, is really the scaffolding of your body. It's what keeps your body together. And, you know, through neglect, through aging, through hard workouts, that fascia gets really tangled. It gets really tight, and it can be the cause of a lot of pain. Foam rolling will help somewhat. There's a lot of things that go into keeping our fascia happy. Foam rolling is going to help. So for today, we're mostly focusing on our calves, but I'm going to start off with this foam roller for my feet, and I'm showing you what I do almost every morning. So I like this one for my feet. You'll notice it's got a very odd shape, and the idea behind this shape, it was created by a chiropractor. And you'll see there are other foam rollers that are kind of similar. The idea behind this is you don't want to foam roll your actual spinal column. It's bone, it's not your fascia, it doesn't do anything for your spinal column. So this little dip in the middle, that means that your spine isn't getting foam rolled, but your shoulders can get foam rolled, you know, to either side of your spinal column can get foam rolled, and that can feel great. I love, love, love foam rolling my back. But for now, I'm starting off with my feet. And believe it or not, this is actually to help my calves. So I'm taking one foot and I'm just kind of wiggling it on top of the foam roller. And I'm taking the other heel, putting that on top of the other side. And then I'm just flexing and pointing. Point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. And I do that maybe about 5 times. It's a nice way to wake up your ankles. Your calf muscles attach to your ankles. Sometimes tight calf muscles are the problem with tight ankles. Sometimes not. And let's go ahead and do the other side. Once again, kind of grabbing with your toes on top of it, taking your heel on the other foot on top, and then just pointing and flexing. About 5 times. Now this next thing I do on all of them, and I think chances are you don't have the foam roller that I'm working with today. It's a nice little foam roller. So I'm taking my ankles and I'm going in and I'm going out. And I'm going in and I'm going out. And I will do this starting at my ankles and I will work my way up my lower legs up to just before my knee. And I actually don't use this particular foam roller for that, but you can, and I have. So we move on to this big one. And I've had this one, I don't know how long. This is a really nice foam roller. I'm going to try and link up some of these foam rollers for you in the little description below. I've had this probably at least 5 years. If you get a cheap foam roller like at Target, the foam is probably going to break down over time. It's great to begin with, but it's probably going to get soft. You'll know when that happens. This one I've been foam rolling on, and like I said, probably at least 5 years. It's not soft. And like I said, there's a lot of debate whether or not you should be using a hard foam roller or a soft foam roller. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go in and out, starting at my ankles. And then I'm going to use my feet and bring it a little closer. And then I'm just going to work my way up my calves. And I do this really, literally, pretty much every morning. I didn't do this morning because I knew I was going to do this for you guys. And you just keep working all the way up. And you may feel some knots. And this is just kind of the first thing that we're doing. So I just go back and forth. And yes, your legs are going to splay out. It's just the way it is. Don't worry about it. You're doing your body a lot of good by doing this. Coming up, we're getting into the meat. This is usually where you begin to feel something. Every body is different, of course. Everybody feels different things. And then we're coming up to not right under the knee, but right up to the knee. And then just back and forth, back and forth. You're probably going to feel some knots down there. If you don't, you're lucky. And then we just work our way down, back down. This should not be painful. It really shouldn't be. Unless you have some bruises or something going on with your legs. It shouldn't really cause you pain. It's not going to cause a whole lot of sensation. But it is beginning to warm up your muscles. It is beginning to say, hey, we're going to need some blood. Send us some blood. Send us blood so we can work out hard for you. And all the way back to my ankles. Giving that Achilles a little bit of love. And then actually, yep, we're going to start out. And now we're actually going to go back and forth on them. And this is probably where you're going to feel something. So you can start, especially if you're new to foam rolling, you can start with your heels on the foam roller, both of them. And you're going to lift up your body and begin to slowly roll down. And you may need to put your butt down and readjust. If you feel a knot, like a knot you get in a massage, you can stop, just stop there. Just stop, don't do anything. And after some amount of time, 30 seconds, whatever, you're probably going to feel it let go. It unfortunately doesn't mean it's gone. I wish it did. My knots never seem to go away. And so you're just going to go slowly up and down with your feet pointing towards the ceiling. Not really flex, but pointing up. Your legs are pointing towards the ceiling. And then we're going to point them over to the side. And you're probably going to find some new sensations here. Your calf muscle actually has two heads. It's not just one big muscle. So we want to get it from every side. And yes, you're getting a little upper body workout with this. And if that gets to be too much for you, you're welcome to do it sitting down too. You may have to move the foam roller a little bit more. It's still going to work it. And of course, we did this side. We have to come over to the other side. Do that side. Anytime you feel a knot, I don't usually feel a whole lot of knots when I'm doing the sides. But again, your body is your body. And this may be a lot more painful for you than it is for me if you've never foam rolled. Like I said, I do it regularly, so I'm used to it. And we're just going to go slowly up and down a few more times. Anytime you feel that knot, like a little bump. Just kind of wait. Just sit on top of it. Just breathe into it. And at some point, you're going to kind of feel it release. And then, if that wasn't enough for you, we have this Triggerpoint foam roller, which I really, really love. I got this one a couple years ago. This one holds up really well too. As you can see, it's got a hard inner core, hollow, which is nice when you travel. I put stuff in there when I travel. And the foam goes around the top. And it's got these nice little grids. So, if you want a little bit more sensation, want to go a little deeper, you're basically going to do the same thing, but with one leg at a time. So you're going to take your ankle on the foam roller, you're going to cross your other leg on top of the foam roller, and then you're going to lift yourself, and you're going to slowly roll down about halfway, come back up, keep going back and forth about 4 times. You don't usually find a whole lot of knots on that lower portion. Then let your butt come down to the floor, and then go from side to side about 4 times. Having that top leg crossed over puts a little bit more pressure on the bottom leg. And then you're going to lift up again, and you're going to do the top half. And that's usually where I find the knots. There are always knots. It pretty much doesn't matter how long I do this, the knots never go away. Maybe if I had a masseuse 24/7, which I'm not going to lie, that would be really nice. I would enjoy that. And then you're going to do the same thing here. Just go back and forth on the foam roller, kind of like we did in the beginning on the big foam roller. And you can do this on a big foam roller as well. It doesn't have to be this little foam roller. And I'm going to go ahead and do my second side with you as well, so I'm not uneven. Same thing, just switching your legs, going up and down. That lower half is usually pretty easy. You don't have a whole lot of knots there. I'm going to scooch back a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going on the top half. And that's where, oh yeah, definitely feel the knots. Yep, there's one right there. And you can do the same thing here as you did on the big foam roller when you had both legs on it. When you find a knot, just sit there. Just let it try and work itself out. Just like that. And you can do that, it's probably, you're going to roll back and forth, you can sit there and it seems to release, and you roll again and oh, it's not gone. That's okay. Just keep doing the same thing. Let your butt come down, and again, just back and forth and back and forth. And that is part of my morning routine. I am back. I thought I had recorded this part already, but apparently it did not record, so we're going to do it again. You'll notice I'm in a different room, still the same day, and my head's probably going to get caught off, but what you need to be looking at are my feet, right here. Yep, headless woman. Okay, it's that kind of day. Hopefully you're not having that kind of day. This is another thing that I do every single morning to keep my feet happy. Once your feet are happy, the rest of your legs are happy. So you can start out with just coming up on your toes and walking back and forth. And normally I walk much, much further, and I do it 4 times. Usually basically across the room, back and forth, back and forth 2 times. And once we've done up on our toes, then come onto your heels. And I'm sorry for the headless yoga teacher. Or maybe that's better, who knows. So you're just going to walk back and forth on your heels. It's always challenging for me. And I've done this in another video on yoga for feet, and I will try and link that up. The way my life is going right now, I make no promises. And then you come to the inner edge of this side of your foot, so inside. What is better known as pronation. A lot of runners pronate. I actually don't. But walking while pronating your feet actually really helps to strengthen your ankles. And of course, we have to end up walking on the outside of our feet, which is called supination. That is what I do generally when I run, or even just standing around and walking. And that's it. It's super simple, but it's going to really help your feet and ankles. And I am sorry for the problems with this video. It's been a day, let me tell you. It's really been a day. Okay, and I will catch you on the flip side. We've got a little bit more coming for you. Thanks for putting up with me today.
Next, come to a tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and we're going to begin to arch your back down as you inhale, and as you exhale, arch it back up like a cat, down like a cow, exhale up like a cat. And we're just going to keep going back and forth a little bit this way. This has nothing to do with the calves, it's just warming up your spine. This is another thing that I do every morning at some point. And if I don't warm up my spine well enough when I'm doing yoga, if I get into reclined spinal twists, I can hear that spine snap, crackling, and popping. And if I've warmed it up well enough, I don't have any pops going on. So it's a really good idea to just warm up your spine. You'll see a lot of videos where I do that. And come to stillness. Curl your toes under. Lift your knees up. And your glutes go up towards the ceiling. As your ears come down between your biceps. And then bend one knee while straightening the other on an inhale. Exhale. Bend the other knee, straighten the other leg. Keep going back and forth. This is called walking your dog. We're in down dog. You should feel a really nice stretch down your calf. One last time, each leg. And then bring both feet down to the mat if you can. If you can't, that's okay. It's not uncommon. Bend your knees. And we're just going to hold here for a few minutes. Trying to make a triangle shape with our body. Maybe after a few breaths, your feet reach further down towards the mat. It's okay to really bend your knees, even if your feet do reach the mat, like mine do. Sometimes bending your knees will give you a straighter spine, and that actually makes breathing easier. And one of the things separating yoga from a lot of other types of exercise is that it's the breath. The breath is very important in yoga. And then go ahead and just come back into that tabletop position. As I like to say, if you're not breathing, then you're not doing yoga, you're just stretching. And that's that.
So basically what we're going to do, ideally you have a step, which is some stairs, lowest step on your stairs. And you're going to be on that, and we're going to do calf raises. You do 10 calf raises, 3 different positions, which I'm going to try and show you. Hopefully it works. And then you let your feet come down so that your calves are stretching. And you let it come down into some foam. And that allows you, hopefully, to not overstretch those calves. Because we need to stretch them, but we don't want to overstretch them, because that gets you into some really bad things. So anyway, I'm putting in a slight little one, lower level, and we'll see if that's going to work. A treadmill does work, it just doesn't allow you to lower as much as I would like to. So we're starting out toes in, heels out, And we begin with 10 calf raises in this position. This is difficult for me. It's internal rotation. It's something we don't do a whole lot of, and I am tight there. And then after that last one, and you'll notice that I'm already not so much toes in, heels out. It's just hard for me. And you're going to let your heels come down onto your block, your soft piece of foam, whatever soft, fairly thick thing you have to let it relax into. And then we're going to go toes out, heels in, same thing, starting off with 10 calf raises. And then you should be able to see a little bit better this time. We've got external rotation going on now, and that I can do. And I can tell you it's a lot more comfortable on a carpeted step than it is on my treadmill. Anyway, you're just going to let your calves relax down for a few breaths. And the final position is our regular calf raises, toes pointing straight ahead, and then just 10 calf raises here. Usually when we have problems with our muscles, it's not just a matter of stretching. It's really too easy to overstretch to actually make that pain worse. So it's a combination of stretching, because that is beneficial, especially to your fascia, especially with the longer holds in yin yoga, and strengthening the muscle that's bothering you. And that's exactly what I'm doing right here. And then finally, bringing those heels, letting them fall down onto the prop below. Thinking about those tight calves being rosebuds, all tightly rolled up. And then slowly, slowly, as you breathe into them, rosebuds begin to unfurl. And you have a beautiful, beautiful rose, or hopefully a beautiful, beautiful calf. So, okay, this is completely and totally awkward. The things I do. So this is actually my morning routine. When I get up in the morning, these are some of the first things I do. I have lemon water, some hot lemon water. That's one of the first things I do. And then I come down into this room actually, and I practice yoga, and I start with some poses for the parts of me that are very tight, and that definitely includes my calves. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time. It's this whole part. Maybe it was 10, 15 minutes, and that's because I'm talking and setting things up for you. I hope you will give this a try. I highly suggest doing this at the very least a few times a week. It's going to keep your calves and your feet and your hamstrings pretty happy. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for putting up with all the awkwardness in this video. And I will see you in the next video. If you like this one, go ahead and click like. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe to know when more videos are going to be released. Thanks for joining me today.